or it could be good morning, or it could be good evening, it could be good night for you, no matter where you are in the world. I am blessed to have you here with me in Be Victorious with Teodora. But today I have an amazing, amazing guest, and I promise you, the life lessons, the coaching, the nuggets that my guest is going to share with us are going to be worth it. To take the time to be live with us, to share, to ask questions, and not only that, but to share our video with your friends and family so that we can help somebody out there. Give me a minute to bring my guest back. We'll be right back. Chris Angell, hello. How are you?
Hi. So good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking time. I know time is precious and it's so valuable, but being here, I really appreciate it. And I know that our conversation is going to bring value to our viewers and our audience. And I just appreciate you being here with us
Yeah,
so that we can help people be victorious. That's the most
I love
important.
it. That's the jam. That's what we're doing.
That's the goal. Yes. Chris, how do we know each other? I like to start by saying this. How did we find each other?
I I think it's Facebook, and but it looks like our mutual friends are Master Networks members, so maybe somehow through Master Networks. Yeah,
Yes,
I
I think
think.
the power of social media, isn't it
Yeah,
something else, right?
and we've never met face to face, but like, isn't that's the cool part? Is it, as much as digital social media can sometimes get a bad reputation. I think that there's such a great place to connect with people you otherwise wouldn't have met face to face. So
Right. But I know we will meet face to face.
yeah,
It's gonna come a time and a day where we get to do that. Tell us where are you and where were you born? Where is your
yeah,
life? Where is your business?
yeah. I live in Spokane, Washington, which is kind of on the border of Idaho. Grew up in Portland, Oregon. Lived there for all the way through high school, and then went to college south of Seattle. Lived in Pierce County over there for 12 years, and then moved to Spokane in 2007. So I've been here ever since. Yeah, yeah, and it's been good.
It
There
looks
you go.
like I kicked myself out of this room. How about
It's
that?
like she went away. That's all right.
I think that was the first. And thank you for holding the stage for me.
Right. Yeah, we'll just keep it going.
Yes, it's there's always happen to encounter things in life that you least expect, but we move through them and
Move through 'em.
we keep going, right? Tom
Yeah.
June is with us. He's looking forward. I'm looking forward to our interview as well because I want to learn everything about you. I want to learn about what is it that you do. So you're in Washington, and that's where it all started, right? That's where business and life is. And you have two children,
I do. Yep.
and
One is a junior in high school, one's a sophomore, so 16, 15,
how
boy and a
is that
girl.
age? How is that age?
I love it. They're amazing. Both my kids are incredible kids, and they're so self-aware, and they're so kind and smart, and I think every parent probably says that, but they're amazing. So
My daughter's 10 years old, and I keep hearing, just wait. Everybody tells me, just wait.
that's funny.
It's we're gonna get there. Jeffrey is with us, and he shared. Thank you so much for sharing, Jeffrey. We really appreciate that. Chris, let's keep going. When in school, throughout school, we
Yeah.
go, as young school age kids, we start having dreams about what it is that we want to do. When did that break for you? When did you reach the point where you decided, okay, this is what I want to do in life and this is what I'm going for?
I wish, for me, I wish it were some clear message like that. It didn't happen like that for me. Um, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I got out of college and was working at Starbucks and was a waiter at a restaurant. And I had picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that might have been the first book that I read that got me to think about something I could do. Actually, I should back up, because before that, my mom was a elementary school principal for 23 years. People had said I would be a good teacher, so I thought, well, I'll try education. I got into a master's program for education. Again, I didn't know. I wasn't like, I can't wait to be a teacher. I was like, I got to figure out something. So I guess I'll do this. And I didn't finish my master's program. It was an expensive lesson. I just was stressed. I didn't enjoy sixth graders. I love my teenagers. Didn't enjoy sixth graders. And
Yes.
and I was like, this is not what I want to do. Um, I'll add one more thing too. I do remember in college, I had this thought, like, I want to be a professional friend. That was my thought. I want to be a professional
Oh,
friend. And I don't, there's no career path for professional friend, right? There's not, you can't go see a recruiting counselor about being a professional friend, but that was a thought I had in college. So I get out of college. I don't know where I fit. I do a master's program that I don't finish. And I picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad while I was a barista at Starbucks. And somehow I got into real estate. I thought I should get into real estate. And even that wasn't like, I can't wait to be a real estate agent. That was about, um, if I do a business in real estate, it'll teach me how to invest. So everything felt like it was if I did this, it will help me do that. If I do this, it'll help me do that. And I think a lot of people make those life decisions on strategic thought processes like that. Well, if I do this, it'll make me marketable. Or if I do that, but none of that is our calling. None of that is the thing that I want to leave on this planet, you know?
yes.
That didn't come till much later, and it was an iteration of just one thing to the next thing.
That's awesome. It's so, yes, it's powerful how the universe works, really.
Yeah.
It's everything just happens for a reason, and wanting to believe it or not, or working towards it or not, it just falls into place when it's supposed to fall into place. But the professional friend, that's so interesting. I've never heard of that.
I
And
I know, I hadn't either. I just
that's so
yeah.
cool. And so then you went into real estate, but you're a coach now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I sold real estate for 6.5 years. um, and I liked that it was people oriented as an industry, but the idea of paperwork and managing a transaction, like, uh, you know, that wasn't being a professional friend. That was a lot of detail oriented stuff. And I didn't really enjoy the selling of things. I liked the people interaction, but I did enjoy leadership. So 6.5 years in, I was invited to become the CEO of a real estate company. And that's what moved me to Spokane. So I moved here and I ran that company for 5 years. And I enjoyed a lot of the aspects of leadership. Um, so that was probably a good clue. I'm like, yeah, this feels right. It still wasn't like I know what I want to do about that, but this was a good next step. But towards the end of those 5 years, I felt like I had kind of done what I needed to do in the role, and maybe this was the next moment. There was a moment that made me decide to step out of being a CEO. I went to a class, a conference, and the person teaching said, "Work inside your unique abilities and work less." And when I looked at what I was doing in leadership, it was a lot of not my unique abilities. It was like all the management stuff you're required to do for the job. There were a lot of things I was required to do for a job, and and that was not my unique abilities. And it brought me back to college when I was like, I want to be a professional friend. I thought, I love speaking and I love coaching. Those two things I love to do. And that was the clouds opened, the angels sang. It was a moment that was like, I need to move on and do my own thing. So within about 6 months, I started my own coaching company in 2011. And ever since then, it's the right fit. I've just been fine tuning what's the message, who is it for, what's the vision of the work I'm here to do. But I finally had found like what the kind of work I wanted to be doing.
That's awesome. Yes, it's so important to find our calling, I think.
Mm.
How do we help people find their calling? How do we help? There's
Yeah.
people that, have that 9 to 5 job and they're just not happy. How do we
Yeah.
find them help? How do we help them find their happy place?
Yeah. Well, I think there's some I have an answer for that, but before that, I feel like there's something underneath that, which is uh just because it's your calling doesn't make it easy. Like there's a,
Yes.
um, I think finding your calling requires a lot of self-awareness. I mean, you have to feel into your life. You have to like take notice of where you feel strong. That was a really good lesson for me as an agent and as a CEO. I had read Marcus Buckingham's work, who worked with the Gallup organization, strengths based work, and he had a quote that said, "A strength is something that when you do it, you feel strong." Right? Versus just a strength is something I'm good at. You can be good at a lot of things and not feel strong doing them. Like a strength is something that when you do it, you feel strong. That always stuck with me because I started noticing, where do I feel strong? And I think for you to find your calling's always going to be in alignment with your strength, the things you feel strong doing. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but
Yes. And but being let's say able to see that, right, to
mm-hmm,
be able to analyze and to really be with yourself to where um,
mm-hmm.
is so important. I think having that the
Yeah.
just the all of it coming together is important.
Can I add
You
something to that?
absolutely.
I wanted to say too, I think part of um, finding a calling, there is a sense of conviction, like that. It's not just knowing where you feel strong, the things that you do that make you feel strong, but there is a point of view or a perspective that you have about the world, what works, what doesn't work. And your calling is typically in response to the things you see that aren't working, right? It's the thing you go, I wish the world was this way, and
Yes.
when you start to really chew on that, sit with it, um, at some point you're going to feel like you want to take action, and that's the calling. That's the calling.
And just like Tom says, knowing your why is the key. Knowing what you're doing and why is important. We're doing for ourselves, for others, for the family, for the money,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah. Oh,
mental health, for the heart.
yeah. I brought up a really good point because I remember getting into business, even my coaching business. I got into my coaching business because I thought, this is what I'm good at, this is what I like doing. But I didn't get into it knowing who I was doing it for. And sometimes, I mean, I worked with real estate agents because that was my background, but I wish I had spent more time when I answered that call to think about, um, like who really has won my heart. Because sometimes the why, I had a hard time answering what's my why. It was a very abstract question for me. But when I thought about, um, when I think about who I want to serve, sometimes the why comes up in it,
And belong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The why just what is the crusade? Tom is right. Tom is one of my very good friends, and I'm so glad he's watching because
Mhm.
he's right. He has the right the right comment here with us. But speaking of knowing what you do, so many people have goals. So can we talk about goals
Hmm.
a little, and how do we implement the goals in what it is that we do, not forgetting about everything else that we're doing, and not feel like we're selfish in a point,
Yeah.
really going for the goals, because we know what we want to do. We have a belief that in ourselves, and we have that, but we also have goals.
Yeah.
Does everybody have a goal? What do you
I don't,
think?
I don't, I've been around enough different perspectives. There are some people who are very successful that don't have goals. They actually would say, a goal limits my creativity. So, I mean, I've been through all the goal workshops, and I know about SMART goals, and there's all the stuff that I've done in my career to be goal oriented. And I have vision, and I think those are a little bit different. Vision is different than goals. What I used to have was goals without vision, right? Or I had goals without who the goals were for, like who am I serving? And ultimately for me, when my goals were just about my lifestyle, 4-hour work week type stuff, like, or my income, Um, I didn't show up. I didn't want to. I mean, I showed up from the energy of anger. I showed up from the energy of like making myself do it. I got to be disciplined and do this. And the joy was just not there. So I got kind of cranky over time, you know. Um, when I started to shift my energy towards who am I here to serve and what is my vision, the goals became an easier target. And I was more invested in the goal because it was about the people and the vision, not about my lifestyle or my income or whatever.
It's because your heart is set to help others,
Yeah.
and it's not you first, it's others, of course, with us in our in
Yeah.
our mind, but it's helping others and serving others is always more satisfying. And when
Yeah.
you can put a smile on somebody's face with a little advice, with that,
Mm-hmm.
anything that you can do for them, it's just so much more satisfying.
Yeah.
And wow. So now you have are you still in real estate, or is it strictly coaching? And before, I want to know, how can people find you? Is your website, um
Mygroundswell.com.
is this right?
It's so small on my screen here. Yeah, it's just my.
Grounds, Groundswell Agency.
Oh, if you go there, it may redirect you or it may not. So you can try that. My Groundswell is the most recent place that stuff happens.
Okay,
my, and then groundswell.com.
let me just put it up there.
Yeah. Most of my, most of the people I work with now are life coaches, transformational leaders, holistic practitioners, anybody in the space of transformation, anybody who's in the game of transformation, are the people I love to help find their message, speak their truth, and build communities and clients around that work.
Okay. um let's see, is this right here?
Yeah.
Mygroundswell.com.
Yep. There you go.
Okay, awesome. So this is where we can find you, and that's what we do. What motivated you to be a coach?
Well, it's funny. So this is why I shared the part about in college, I wanted to be a professional friend, because I feel like coaching is the closest thing I can find to what a professional friend is.
Right. Yes.
You're paying me to ask you really good questions that open things up for you. And the dynamic, the interaction is very much to me like how my conversations were with friends. So isn't that funny? Like it comes full circle. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times our calling and our important work in life, we can find some of those in our teens and 20s. If we go back, we may have said it differently then, but come full circle, like the thing that was speaking to us then kind of finds its way out later on in life.
They just happen to come back. It's the universe working for what we wish and desire.
I think so. Yeah.
How did the experiences of life, right? We all live life and we have experience that can influence maybe how we behave, maybe how we think and believe. What's your opinion on that? How do we use our experiences to build our life and move forward?
I think all of life is an experience. The way I say it is, it's an iteration. Like I think a lot of people are stuck in paralyzed in perfection. I think there's a lot of comparison right now where people are looking at how others do it, and feel like what they're doing isn't up to standard compared to other people. And the problem with that is you'll never start. Like you'll never catch up, if what you're doing is comparing to people who are ahead of you. If all you could start with is the next right step, what do you feel in your heart to do? What do you want to do? And take a step. Like if you're in business, for example, and what you're trying to do for yourself is grow your business, you need to have people, you need clients. And so that often looks like marketing. Well, most people don't like marketing, but so what do? you have to create connection. So speak to them in a way that creates connection. And it may look, you're doing a great job of that, by the way. Like you've got your show and
Thank
you're
you.
bringing people in and you're talking about being victorious. Like this conversation matters to you.
Yes.
I hear your conviction in it. And you keep showing up, and you've probably learned some things over time. It's an iteration. Things get better as you keep doing it,
That's the way I decide. Honestly, I started this show because I see so many people that are just afraid. They said, I admire you to show up on the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I admire you to talk live.
Mm-hmm.
I want to inspire. I want to help people really see that it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to follow
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do and just do it. It's not hard. It's not impossible to reach out to Chris Angell
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, come be on my show,"
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And help and inspire and share your stories. What I want to do is bring business owners or people or just normal every day by day people that I find victorious to share their stories so that we can help others,
Mm-hmm.
motivate and teach them that it's possible because we did it. If we did
Right.
it,
If we did it.
if we did it, everybody can do it.
Right.
Victoria is with us. Um, you and Victoria are friends.
What's up, Victoria?
She says that's my boy.
Nice. That's
So
awesome.
Victoria's a victorious person. She was on my show and
Yeah.
shared. She's amazing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about fear because
Yeah.
so many people are afraid, literally afraid to show up. They're afraid that I feel like some people are afraid to really have the result they want because they don't know how to go to the next level from there. How do you
Yeah.
talk about fear and how does that stop people?
I think, well, yeah, I mean, fear is so primal, right? Like, it feels like I'm going to die if I take a misstep. You ever watch The Croods? My family likes The Croods,
Yes.
the show. Like, never
Oh,
not be afraid, never not be afraid. It's hardwired into us for centuries and centuries. But I think, so it's not like fear goes away. I think what helped me in overcoming moving through my fear was the thing I said earlier about like when you can find what, from your point of view about the world, what's working and not working, all of a sudden it activates you differently. Like if I remember a couple of years, somebody said, hey, if the building collapsed right now and there were people who were hurt and you were looking around, you'd say like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like there's no time to think about, am I afraid to help or not help? Like you just go help. You also don't think like, am I certified to help? Am I qualified to help? You just go help. And so when you get present to that, there is a problem in the world, number one, where you can show up in that problem. How do you help that problem? How do you solve that problem? And who are you helping? All of a sudden the fear types, it kind of just falls off a little bit because you're so focused on the person and the problem that you're not worried about yourself in the moment.
yes. Yes, absolutely. Oh my
Like,
God, a
yeah,
hundred percent, 100%.
yeah,
Because it's so true. And getting out of that mindset, oh my God, I'm afraid. What are you afraid of?
yeah.
That your dreams and your goals are going to be reached, and then what? Then you can go going and you move to the next level, right?
I think, but I do think, I mean, I totally hear that. And I think there's also a piece of it where um, if there's a lot of people who are living in a shadow of who they really are, so their friends and their family know them for the reserved version of them that they are. And to step out into who they really want to be risks alienation. It risks rejection. It risks people misunderstanding them, and that's it is a really scary place to be. I think the thing that makes it okay is if you realize, yeah, you might, if you really do what you want to do, you might lose some friends, maybe. and your family might not understand you, maybe, but there are a group of people who are wired exactly for the thing you're here to share and to offer. And when you're in the presence of them, I'm saying this only from experience now, when you're in the presence of those you're really here to serve, like your life gets 10 times more colorful, 10 times more exciting than it was when you were suffering behind a smaller version of you that wasn't the fullest version of you.
It's like somebody turns on the light switch, right?
Right?
You're full, complete, present, happy,
Yeah.
happiness, happy.
Yeah.
Do you see client, like, do you coach people that are, let's say they want to start a business and they don't know where to start and they don't know what to do? Is is
I
that
definitely
part of
have I've definitely done work like that. Most of my work now with life coaches, they're experienced coaches. They're good at what they do with their clients to bring wholeness and healing, transformation. But they're looking at how do they expand their reach? Like, how do I take this further? How do I grow my important work in the world so that it's not just the people I serve in my community, but that my message and my work gets further out into the world. That's where I spend most of my time now.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. And you have a podcast, right? Is
Yeah, my new podcast, that's a public podcast, is Life Coach Labs. Life Coach Labs. And then there'll be a companion show to that show that's a private subscription-based show called Life Coach Leaders. Yeah, but Life Coach Labs, it comes out in April. And it's all about, it's an interview style format like this, where we talk to people about important issues in the life coaching industry.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool. So
Yeah.
so what you do is really, it's changing lives, and I admire you for that. I think it's so important, the work that you do with people to get them better and help,
Mm,
and really give them hope that it's possible. It's so important. And
yeah.
it's so valuable.
Yeah. It's really fun working with life coaches who, in my opinion, they're in the conversation of transformation. Like, it's literally the work they do. They're talking to people about where are you stuck, where are you wanting to go, and they're doing lots of healing work with people. So it makes I love that I get to work with people in the front lines of that kind of work. Like, it really is a ripple effect when generational patterns are erased, when trauma and wounds are healed, a whole new world is possible. So that's why I love working with life coaches so much.
Speaking of being stuck, what do you think is the number one reason why people feel stuck in their life? What's holding them back?
I mean, the first word that came to me was fear, but then even fear, I think it's more like self-awareness. Like, if you're not asking questions of yourself and the way things are and who you are in all of that, then uh, you won't reach for more. And if you do reach for more, you'll reach for more from a false pretext. You'll reach for more thinking that's what people are supposed to do. That's what good little boys and girls are supposed to do, right? Like you're checking the box, I'm a good human because I'm reaching for more. And it's not because it's what you want to do, it's because it's what you think you're supposed to do. So the self-awareness piece for me is so critical in you having the kind of life that feels victorious. If it's not your life, if you're doing it because you think it's what somebody else wants you to do, you'll never feel, no matter how successful you are, you won't feel victorious.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and doing things for other people before we do things for ourselves. My goodness, how many, I mean, we're parents and we learn that we have to take care of these little humans that are growing in our care, and then we forget about us so many times.
Yeah.
And then the society is pushing us to go get a job and go do this, and we work for others, and that's just how the ball keeps rolling, and we
Yeah.
forget about us. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
What do you advise? I'm an only parent, and I raised my daughter alone, and I took a pretty important change of my life when I started my business.
Mm.
And I see so many single parents being resistance in moving on and doing something more, to get out.
Yeah.
What do you advise as an only parent, how to take care of themselves?
Yeah. I'm not an only parent, so I can't speak to it from my own lived experience. But what I could say from just a human, my experience as a human is, it, I mean, everything's a judgment call on when to do something.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have a kid who is in elementary school, the conditions are much different than if they're a teenager with a driver's license, and there's not as much time needed in the nurturing of that child. Um, so I think that's a part of it. You may have this calling that you really want to do something more with life than the job you're in, but your kid's in elementary school, so you nurture and incubate that dream. Like at that stage, what you can do to be proactive is network, read books, do things that continue to develop and nurture that vision that you have. Spend time with it when you're not at work. Then when the window of opportunity starts to open up for you to make some moves, take some steps towards your vision, um, it can be scary because it's new. If it means leaving a job for your own business, that can be scary. So anything, just practically speaking, anything you can do to financially help that transition is important. Um, I see a lot of people who get into business. I guess I'm just taking it there. Like you didn't say like they're going to go into business, but a lot of times if you're seeking freedom, it
Right.
starts to look like not working for somebody else, working for
Right.
yourself. I think if you're going to go into business for yourself, oh man, I've seen so many people who get into business and feel like they don't know what they're doing, which it makes sense because they're brand new to it, but they see all these people in marketing who sound like they know what they're talking about, and they spend so much money on the promise of some program, and now they are set backwards financially, and what they bought didn't actually help. So you got to be really careful getting into business because everybody wants to sell you something. This is where your self-awareness needs to be important, and probably being around find some experienced people in business who have already bought all the things and know what is good and what isn't, and
Yeah.
ask their advice than just trying to do. I was fiercely independent and just tried to figure it out on my own, and that was expensive for me.
But it was learning. It
It was,
helped.
yeah,
it,
of course.
it was valuable because you learn, what works.
I wish I would have asked for more help. I think a lot of people are afraid to ask for help. I think a lot of people are really independent. Um, and so we end up not asking for help when we probably could have, you know. Um,
Yes.
I think that's another one that's probably a good lesson there.
One of my friends and one of my guests that was on my show, she pointed how important it is to ask for help, and especially for women,
Mm.
we always like to give, and we're so helpful and always jump for each other, but we're so resistant to say, hey, I need your help, I need you to go pick up my daughter from school because I can't, I just need help.
Yeah.
It almost feels like it's a shame, kind of,
Yeah.
or we have to prove
To get better.
something to someone, or maybe to ourselves, that we got this, we're powerful and strong. And that's the stubborn attitude, right?
Yeah. I think there's something in, I maybe this is more than you wanted for your show. I feel like um one of the things that will change the world is when feminine energy um, honors itself and leads. Like when women who are good at doing what women do, right? Which you're great, you're so great at helping each other. You're so cooperative, so collaborative. When that energy starts to lead in education, in politics, in parenting, in health reform, right? And when this kind of energy kicks in, the world will be a different place. And I think that's really important. Like that's a good reframe for anybody who feels like they have to show up and prove themselves, and they can't ask for help, and we have to be tough and put together. Like, um, if you can reframe that to, it's actually the way you are so good at engaging others is the very thing that we need from you over here. So you asking for help is just a faster path to that kind of cooperative energy um, gaining momentum in the world, you know?
Wow, yes. So on point. Wow, I love that. It really made sense in my mind. Wow.
Yeah.
Um
Because if you think about it, if we, if the energy that has built the world for the last millennia, 2 millennia or whatever,
yes,
it's very masculine energy. It's very competitive instead of cooperative. It's very like, we're going to take land, we're going to expand kingdoms, we're going to we're going to take what we want. Which, whatever that, you can call that a patriarchy if you wanted to. I don't know where your audience falls on this whole conversation, but you see, like, there is just a way that there's an energy that has been behind the expansion we've experienced. We've experienced expansion over the last 2,000 years and
yes,
more, and it's been done from a particular kind of energy. And I think that in that energy, it's scary in a competitive space, especially for women, where there's typically a ceiling, right? There's you have to work harder to be heard and to be seen and to be respected. Um, that that is a result of being in this energy that we've used for 2,000 years to grow our world. So why I think feminine energy is so important is that when wounded men feel safe in feminine energy, right? They won't have to puff and posture so much. They don't have to like try to be, their ego doesn't have to flare up so much.
right.
Um, but that's women leading. That's feminine energy leading, not masculine. I'm very in touch with my feminine energy in the sense of like, I love that side of deep listening, lots of empathy, cooperation. It's the energy. I'm not saying it's women and men. I'm saying this,
Right. Yes. I know.
there's this space where when we start to have empathy for one another, we listen to one another, we cooperate with one another, people's egos don't flare, and we can actually move something forward instead of personal agendas. We get work done that's better for each other and the planet, for the world.
Right.
Anyway,
Do you feel like in your coaching clients, do you feel like you also have to do therapy sometime? Or I'm asking that because I always felt, I mean, I went through a really, really harsh divorce
yeah,
many years ago, and I always feel like I need therapy. Um,
who
what
doesn't? Who doesn't?
do we all?
I think it's the human condition, right?
I think so too. But do you feel like you do therapy and coaching? What's the difference? Okay. So do I
Yeah.
need a coach or do I need a therapy person?
Good question. Well, I've never been a therapist or a licensed practitioner, so I can't speak to the discipline of that. Um, what I can say is, and I've never been with a therapist. I've never paid a therapist for therapy. I've paid a hypnotherapist for some work. I've worked with lots of transformational leaders who are coaches, and have found my own path through their help in coaching. I think, I mean, you can even get into some people will get this really specific and be like the different modalities, like therapy does this type of modality and coaching does that's. I'm not interested in that finite of a distinction. I just think coaching isn't regulated. Therapy is, right? I don't need a license to be a coach. You do if you're a therapist. I think therapy tends to try to unpack the wounds. Coaching probably just tries to heal the wounds, right? Like therapy might try to understand what's happening behind a wound. Coaching a lot of times just brings completion to a wound. Um, so, so yeah, I mean, in coaching, it's not therapy in that it's licensed work, but there's always talking about where you stuck, where do you want to go, you know?
Lynn is with us. We're going to say hello to Lynn as well.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn. Lynn is one of my very good friends, and
Hmm.
she just loves to call me at the right time.
Hmm.
I think she calls sometimes and she says, "God made me call you right
Hmm.
now. What's going on?"
I love that.
So I think having friends like that is so powerful. It's so important. But coaching is needed. I think people. Lynn says, "Nice to meet you." Thank you for being here, Lynn. Um, I think everybody needs a coach. In my opinion, it being a relationship coach, it being a life coach, it being a professional, a business coach, it being a, I think everybody needs coach. And I'm just so grateful that you came to my show today and really talk about how important it is to have a coach. Why are people resistant to have coaches and hire coaches? Because your time has to be paid, right? You're making a living off your business. Why do people not hire coaches?
Well, yeah, I would imagine a couple of reasons. Um, One, they've tried it before and it didn't produce a result. So they sort of lump all coaching or coaches into I've been there and done that, right? I tried coaching. Not all coaches are created equal, obviously. Um, so I think that's an important piece of that. I also think people don't hire coaches. A lot of coaches are being taught right now to charge what they're worth, quote unquote, charge what you're worth. And so you'll see coaches put really expensive price tags on coaching. And I think that for a lot of people makes it unapproachable. I can't do it. I won't risk my family's financial stability to take a risk on whether your coaching is going to help me break through or not. And then also I think there is a part where there are just some people who don't want that. They're not looking for help. They're not wanting support. They don't believe in doing it through someone else. And that's just, to me, I think that's just somebody on their personal path trying to figure out doing what they see to do. Um, but for those that are open to coaching that then don't hire coaches, I think that's the stuff I've been talking about. Like, I'm
Yes.
open to coaching, but I'm not going to hire another one because the last one I hired, I spent way too much money and didn't get a result. I can't do that again. You know?
Yes. Yes. And I see it. And I see it in the financial life.
Yeah.
They have people have this idea that in order to talk to a financial professional, you need to have so much money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Good
wrong.
point.
It's
Yeah.
not. And you need, in order to have a coach, you have to pay this huge fee.
Yeah.
Yes. So I
Well,
see
I
it.
don't know that I feel like a lot of coaches have made it harder to like we've put the business first and the terms first. Like, if you want to work with me, this is how much it is. This is the contract. It lasts this long. You can't skip a session. Like, we've put so much barrier in the way of helping people as coaches that um, people are nervous about what's going to be expected of them. And I think to the opposite side of your question, like, this is why they don't hire coaches. What would be required for them to entertain maybe hiring coaches? I think coaches would need to give more before they ask, give more, be more valuable, be more helpful, create more relationship, be safer. That's probably a huge one. Is the
Yes.
coaching industry just isn't very safe for people. People feel like they're going to get taken all the time. Because there's been too much marketing put on the face of coaching. Coaching is just about helping people. So let's do that without in extra ways without requiring premium prices. Like, so I think if we as coaches were being that uh, giving and safe, people would feel like hiring a coach was safe
And need it.
and needed. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because then you'd have conversations up front that were like, wow, you really understand me. Yeah. And now all of a sudden it feels like I want to have this relationship instead of like, there's a price tag and terms and conditions and you don't even know me yet.
And Mark is right. He says the word coach is thrown around too loosely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true. I
Right. Because
think.
it's an unregulated industry. Like, anybody can be a coach. I mean, and I think the good side of that is, like, I like that more people who want to help people can become coaches with with less friction to get into being coaches. But then if if you're not good at what you do, then it
Not
can be a problem. So
right. No, you are good at what you do.
Hmm.
You are one of the best. You are the best in my group of people,
That's
and
good.
I'm so honored to have you and to have this minute of talking and
Yeah.
bringing you life to my friends and my family, my big family of friends. My family's in Romania, so
Nice.
it's kind of hard for them to reach for coaches in America,
Hmm.
but they're just so focused on work, work, work.
Yeah.
It's back in Romania, it's a matter of surviving rather than
Yeah.
thriving. But my friends and family can find you at mygroundswell.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are you open to new clients now? Is your schedule pretty busy, or do you take
I
um
still do private clients. Price point's different, and it's more custom to what somebody wants to do. But if somebody were listening to this that is a transformational leader, like they have important work to do in the world, um, and they wanted coaching that way, that's great. If they're a life coach, I have a community of life coaches. That's typically the best place to start is, um, and that's a super easy price point. But it is for life coaches who are experienced life coaches. So yeah.
awesome. Everybody needs to go and follow you. You're on Facebook and you're pretty active on Facebook,
Yeah,
correct?
that's the easiest place to really interact with me is and my content is on Facebook. Yeah,
Yes.
on my
And
personal profile. Yeah,
LinkedIn and your website and everywhere. We're going to go follow you and follow your incredible journey to help and continue to change the world through your work, and just be amazing and be victorious like you are.
Thanks, Teodora. I love what you're up to with be victorious. It's so good.
Thank you. I felt the need of helping more people, and I do.
I love it.
Through my business, I really make a big difference in people's life. But social media is powerful, and I decided to break through this as well so that I can reach more households.
That's so good. You have great energy, and I think the topic's really important. So
Thank
good
you.
for you. Yeah, I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're gonna say good night to Lynn.
Mhm.
It's still daylight here. No, good night. Not yet. We have work to do.
We got work to do.
But Chris, I really, really appreciate your presence on my show and your time. And everybody is going to follow you and reach out to you with questions and
Mm.
with help. And stay with me for a little longer. I will be right back. But everybody, please go and share our live and follow Chris Angell. He's the
Thanks,
best.
everybody. Thanks, Teodora. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. I learned today, oh my gosh, I've learned that in order to reach reach the high potential that we all have, it's important to have somebody to guide us. And Chris is there for us to be with us and be the coach that we need, and be on our corner. We all have to have that professional friend. I love that. You guys have a good day. Continue to be victorious, and thank you so much for watching.